Hi everyone. I wondered if you could help me think something through. So earlier today, I wrote a document. It's very difficult for me to know what other people know. Um, and I don't want to bore you by recapping stuff, nor do I want to leave out stuff which is pertinent to understanding anything. But what I'm going to go with is that if you're watching this, you probably know most things. And I would ask anybody who doesn't feel like they understand the link between one thought and another, just to communicate with me. I'll explain as best I can how I got from one place to another, and you can look into it yourself and decide what you think. Okay. So anyway, this morning I wrote a piece on how about Baller. There's a reason for it, though. I know everybody's written about it, but it's about Baller, and it basically just giving a link to his response to the question regarding the mRNA, and his statement that he originally thought that using mRNA was counterintuitive, but that they convinced me. I move on to sort of say that I think that that's him trying to disavow himself for responsibility for the vaccine, and who can blame him? Because if he doesn't manage to put the blame on a curist, then he's going to get tried for genocide. Again, get in contact with me if you don't know anything about the curist. And the reason that he would be tried for genocide again is because of work that I'm sure you're familiar with. You can get it from Edward Dowd on Getter or Steve Bannon on the War Room, and basically it is this most appalling 84% increase in excess US millennial deaths in the last year. Right, so anyway, the post goes on from there. The problem for you, Mr. Baller, though, among many other things, is this. And then I put the link to a video on YouTube entitled, Dear Mr. Pfizer, What Kind of Man Are You? I read this to you, Mr. Baller, in early 2021, when my then new friend, Angelia Gibson DeSalle, became one of your first living victims. If you've forgotten who she is, you can watch some videos of how you have ravaged her life here. And one of her speaking at her state capital here. In my letter, I apologize to you for not having approached you directly when I found out about Angelia's life-changing injuries. I apologize to you for assuming that you wouldn't care or provide restitution. I begged you, at the very least, to put together a basic financial package which your company could well afford for those foot soldiers in your war against COVID, who gave up their bodily autonomy through a blend of altruism and coercion and were injured on the battlefield. Come and pick up your wounded, I implored. Your response? My friend Angelia still hasn't had any help at all, far less a penny of your precious money. When I think of you, I am reminded of that meme which imagines a group of monkeys who have been given a finite number of bananas, which one monkey then proceeds to hoard while watching the other monkeys starve. The meme then makes the point that if you were studying these monkeys, you would study in particular the hoarder to find out what was wrong with him. Shame on you, Mr. Baller, on so many levels. Shame on you. So I wrote that and I posted it. And one of the responses that I got was in the same vein as other responses that I have received. And that I've come across people, replying to other commentary. So anybody, and I mean anybody, this is a comment now, pushing this experiment, even down to the idiots pushing it on radio as advertisement, should be punished with crimes against humanity. We've learned from the last time, I was just doing my job is not reason enough. So I replied, and this was my reply. I'm so saddened by what has happened that I'm not sure about what we should be doing to go forward. I definitely think that the head honchos or the ringleaders who instigated it should be taken to court. But even then, I'm not sure what I think should be done with them in terms of sentencing. I have this feeling that they're really unwell, that they can't possibly be in their right mind. I mean, what healthy human does that to other people? I'm just thinking out loud here, though. I know that I don't know. As for the other people that you reference, you know, the radio advertisers, the nurses, the doctors, I have this terrible feeling that if we were to prosecute everyone that was involved, we would lose more than half of humanity. And we can't incarcerate them all. In fact, I find that I have no desire at all to take away another person's liberty. I feel like that's almost perhaps what this is all about. So I've been thinking about that idea over the last few while, and wondering if perhaps the only way to make this stop would be to go the other way and offer amnesty. Say that as long as it stops, we'll somehow find forgiveness and a way to move forward from this global catastrophe, a way that makes the world a better place for us all. I have the feeling that these people don't belong to them, they belong to us. We are humanity. Now, I know I'm just one mind, one tiny little mind, but I feel like I need to speak this because I need to say to people, please, we need collectively to bring all our thoughts on this matter of going forward together. Yeah, because surely on the spectrum of what we all feel, you know, there's a way forward that does the least harm and the most good. I'm not saying that I know what it is. Of course I don't. But fine minds, philosophical minds, ethical minds, minds concerned with the understanding of community and human well-being need to come together, because I feel like our only way out of this realistically is to offer amnesty and to also offer an alternative solution. So to actually have written down a kind of charter of what we believe, you know, could be better than the world that we have and the systems that we, you know, have in place. Because this is really terrible. And having any kind of system in place which allows this to come about is obviously, you know, not tenable going forward. But we can't expect the average person who's been manipulated, lied to, sort of, you know, through generations of social conditioning and, you know, intentional manipulation, found themselves in a place where they didn't see what was going on here. People who have been pumped full of the idea that materialism is everything, appearance is everything, presentation is everything. You know, we can't expect to go, we ourselves can't go from, you know, the kind of life that we are currently leading to the kind of life that we know is probably the most healthy for all of us. It needs to be a progression. And if we want to ask people to come on board with it, we need to be able to lay out those steps. And we also need to be able to forgive if that's what we feel is required of somebody. Personally, for myself, I forgive everyone. I think that people end up doing the things that they do because of the way their brain works and everything that they've experienced so far. And that it's very, that they don't actually really have freedom of choice in the moment in the way that we encourage people to believe that they do and that other people do. And as a result, we end up with people judging each other. And that if we understood better what I'm, you know, suggesting here, then perhaps we would build societies which were better for human beings. Anyway, like I said, what would I know? I don't know. I am just this one person. What I would ask you though, if at all possible, if you know anybody who is a fine mind, whether they have a public profile or not. I know I'm, a nobody, but, I also believe that we are all somebody. We are not nobody, any of us. So whether you can persuade a person with a high public profile and a fine mind to convene some sort of meeting where this kind of conversation can start taking place, or whether you just know a fine mind, or you are a fine mind and you want to come to me and say, listen, I'll talk to you about that. Whichever, I would really, really like us to dwell on how humanity goes forward. So thank you so much, as always, for your time. And I actually really do love every single one of you. So bless you. Thank you. Take care.